Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the best podcast on YouTube for sports, football, and all that good stuff. That is the BenchWire podcast. We are back, episode 59, and we got a lot of content to talk about today. I'm once again joined by my best co-host, Justin. How's it going, man?
Ooh, best co-host, man.
Best
That's awesome.
Yes.
I guess some shots thrown
I can rely on you. You're reliable.
Shout out, Matt. Yeah, I'm doing well. I had a good weekend. I don't know. Are you okay? I mean, I wasn't know if you were going to show up this week. I'm going to take a flyer.
I'll let you start off this topic here. Our first topic. What are we talking about today, Justin? I want to know.
Yeah, so I thought I was going to have to do BenchWire myself this week, but gotta give you credit. You showed up. And yeah, let's get right into it. Let's rip the Band-Aid off. The Philadelphia Eagles, my Philadelphia Eagles, with Saquon Barkley and the crew, drive up I-95. We get off MetLife Stadium, baby, in New York, home where Saquon Barkley once played, where he ran his heart out, man, beyond a shitty O-line, gave it all for his organization. He came back. He didn't call a revenge game all week, but, man, he played like it, that's for sure. The Giants fans were burning his jersey. He saw it come in, and he's like, all right, I see. It just added more fuel to the fire for him. But I'll get back more into him in a second. I'm going to give you the floor later. I guess I'll just knock out like the positives. So the Eagles ended up winning 28-3. Just a couple takeaways from the Birds. The one thing that's a concern is the first quarter we suck. We suck in the first quarter. The first quarter should be where you script your plays, you know what you're going to call. It normally works most of the time, but for us, for some reason, we can't game plan, and we're better ad-libbing and just calling on the fly. Our offense all of a sudden gets a little bit better, which is really, really weird. I don't understand that at all. But, yeah, I got to give the defense a lot of credit, too. Vic Fangio, he called a nice game. They brought a lot of pressures on Daniel Jones. Like Nakobe Dean had like 11 tackles, 2 TFLs, and 2 sacks. He showed up. He played well. Jalen Carter showed up, also played well. And even the Giants allowed Nolan Smith and Bryce Huff to finally show up. It was amazing. I loved seeing that there too. And yeah, they held the Giants to 3 points. I get it. It's the Giants. Their offense is questionable. It's not the best, but it's not the win that I'm happy about. It's just when you coming off that Cleveland game, the effort wasn't there, and there's a lot that happened, and the Browns were in that game. And this one, I don't know if it was because they wanted to win it for Saquon, first game back. They play with a lot more effort. They play harder, and that's a good building block there for sure. And, yeah, I was happy with that. And, yeah, I got to talk about Saquon. What was it? He averaged like 10 yards per carry, 176 yards.
Something crazy.
Nuts.
He's pretty good.
A touchdown. Yeah, he had a couple really nice runs. They even brought in a fullback, Ben Van Sumeren, who's more of a linebacker. They brought in the fullback, created some nice lanes for Saquon to run in. Yeah, he's been –
remember that, yeah.
He's been a nice addition, man. He's been good. He's a team player, man. I mean, it's been great to see him there. Great to have him. And, yeah, just listening to him talk and, like, the whole clip of him saying, I'm 13 yards away, but let the other guys play. Just a team player.
He's special.
Yeah, special guy. I'm happy to have him on my team.
I do miss him.
It's a guy that you can buy a jersey, and he'll give it his all, and it's like a good return on your investment as a fan. And, yeah, he's just a special guy. It's just a guy who won in the building. And with each passing week, especially this one, it just makes it look worse for Joe Shane. I feel like it just looks really, really bad for the Giants there. But I'll let you get into that. But, yeah, good game. Hurts only threw 14 times, 10 of 14, and 100.
All I needed to do.
And they still blow you guys out. I mean,
yeah, it's depressing.
But I'll turn it over to you. That's basically all I have in a nutshell.
Yeah, so the Giants suck. They're not going anywhere this year. They're going to finish last in the division. You were right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you a round of applause. But yeah, they're awful. Offense without Andrew Thomas looked awful. Daniel Jones, it's time to move on. He's holding us back. I'm going to keep saying every week. He'll have some flashes where he can manage some games. Defense plays well. Maybe we can win it out. But I just think Daniel Jones, it's time to move on. He's not the guy. And, Joe Shane, he did something right with that contract. We don't have to pay him after this year because the first 2 years guaranteed were in the first 2 years of the contract. So there's a loophole out of that contract. So that's one thing Joe Shane did right. But, yeah, Malik Neighbors, he was open a lot of plays. And, yeah, you heard it from him first. He was like, I was open. You could watch the tape. And, yeah, I saw plenty of clips online. He was open. But Daniel Jones he has a hard time reading defenses. And for him being in his 6th year in the NFL, like how? Like that's rookie mistakes. And this guy, he's a hard worker, and I respect him. Wish him nothing but the best, but it's just time to move on. I don't think the Giants move on right away. I think he still has playing time. And he is the best quarterback on the roster for us at the moment, right? I think the guy I will give a shot is Tommy DeVito. I'm not a big believer in Drew Lock. And I think the Giants give him until Thanksgiving. I think that's the time. If he's not doing well, they're going to pull the plug on him and let either Drew Lock or Tommy DeVito shine. On the defense looked great. Dexter Lawrence, best defensive player in the league. I think he is a force to be reckoned with. Leads the league in sacks. Best defensive tackle right now in football. Has 9 sacks on the year. And yeah, he's a menace. He's a menace. So that's one bright spot. That's one bright spot with the Giants. Brian Burns, he looked good. He's a little banged up. He's been dealing with a groin injury the past few weeks, but you could tell he makes an impact. So that was a good move by Joe Shane. I like Brian Burns, and Ojulari looked good as well. He's been stepping up for Kayvon and creating sacks. But what's bad with this defense is the secondary. Deonte Banks, the lack of effort he has been showing the last few weeks is concerning. Our secondary is, bit by the injury bug right now. And, we didn't have Adoree Jackson. Cordell Flock got hurt in this game. And then our safeties, Tyler Nubin, he's a rookie. It's going to take some time for him to adjust to the NFL world. I get that. And Jason Pinnock, he's just an older veteran type guy. So, our secondary is not the greatest, and that is our weakness right now because that's how they're breaking off on all these big runs. And other than Bobby Okereke, our linebacker core is shit. We don't have good linebackers. Michael McFadden, he's all right. But, yeah, I would say the best part of our defense is that D-line, and they still need time to rebuild that defense. And, you could say Joe Shane. Yeah. You could say Joe Shane, he looked like an idiot. Get rid of Saquon. But I wanted to ask you this question. If you think we had Saquon Barkley in that game, do we win that game?
I think your odds of winning go up, honestly. You probably would win that game.
You think we win that game with the addition of Saquon and then off?
It's tough. It's tough to say. I think we would have a hard time with him.
Because what I question is, us not even running the ball in the first half. I think we ran it 4 times. And I don't know if that's lacking trust of the O-line, how bad the O-line was blocking that game, or they just didn't believe in Tyrone Tracy and Devin Singletary there. I think it's the O-line versus that D-line. That D-line was getting after us, right? I feel like Saquon wouldn't have done anything. I believe in his first 6 years with the Giants, Saquon, right?
Yeah.
I think he's only won, 1, maybe 2 games against the Eagles? So how much of an impact has he been against the Eagles, the Cowboys, all these teams? I'm not going to say it's his fault, but just having him there, is it going to make a difference for us? And that's why we decided to move off of him.
Well, here's the thing. This too. They're going to stack the box. They're going to play Saquon. Even if you still had him, I think they would still stack the box. But at least now, where Joe Shane looks bad is I thought you were going to give Daniel Jones every resource to prove it, and taking away Saquon hurts that chance to prove that Daniel Jones can play. Right? It was about bringing people in to help Daniel Jones see if he's the guy. Getting rid of him doesn't help that. Plus, wouldn't you like to have Saquon and Neighbors on your offense? And you could probably have still swung that Brian Burns train anyway. So, in that retrospect, it looks bad for Shane. It really does, and there's still a lot of holes that need to be made. And I don't know if Shane's going to last after that. You heard John Mara in the clip this offseason. He loves him. He didn't want him to go to Philadelphia. That ended up happening. So I don't know. I don't know if he's on thin ice. I think it is him. I think Dable's job's safe for now. I don't see him really going anywhere unless they look really, really bad down the stretch. Maybe. It's too early to tell, but Shane's job's looking kind of shaky. Do you agree with that?
I don't know. I feel like you got to let it play out again because you didn't let Shane draft and Dable draft their franchise quarterback. I feel like the reason they re-signed Daniel Jones was not because of Shane. I feel like it was more on Mara making that happen as well. I feel like Mara wanted Jones to stay and be that franchise guy so that he hasn't been given, all the resources to go out there and win these games. And, we haven't given him the foundation. So I feel like if Shane gets one more opportunity, I feel like he deserves it. I know the Saquon situation. What I would have done if I was Joe Shane, I would have told Saquon, hey, last season, hey, we love you as a person, as a team player, a leader in our locker room, but we got to part ways. And we want to trade you. And what I would have done is I would have fielded calls and see what teams are interested in possibly acquiring Saquon. Right? And then hear them out, see if they want to give him a long-term extension, and let him pick from those teams. If Saquon was on the Texans right now, right, this wouldn't look that bad. This wouldn't look that bad because he's not on the division rival with the Eagles and all that. If he was on the Texans, John Mara would have been fine. But now that we have to see him twice a year, that's the reason behind all this backlash. Oh, you let him walk. You were nice with him and let him walk to Philadelphia. What I would have done is I would have fielded calls and traded the man, got some value in return because he's a special player. We can all agree on that. And trade him to a team that he wanted to go to and not take the best offer if you want to do right by it. That's what I would have done. Because now we got nothing in return for him. We have to watch him in the Philly green, play against him twice a year, and now we're getting all this backlash because he's on the Eagles. If we would have got something in return, we drafted Tyrone Tracy. He looks like he could be a stud. Devin Singletary, he's an average guy, but he could produce. He's productive. So that's why I think Joe Shane's getting all this backlash just because he's on the Eagles and we have to play him twice a year. Our offensive line, everyone's going to shit on after this game. The guy allowed 8 sacks. I don't blame the whole game on the offensive line.
And our D-line's not that good. It's really not.
I agree with that. But I don't blame the whole game on the O-line. I blame it on Daniel Jones with the coverage sacks. Just not finding the right guy. I don't think the O-line allowed all these sacks. Yes, we were without Andrew Thomas there, but I do not blame the O-line for all these sacks. They've been playing good all year, right? So it's hard to blame Shane for everything. It's just not good timing right now. But I would have done is, traded Saquon at the trade deadline, got value for him, and then we wouldn't have to be in a situation of watching him with the Eagles and playing us twice a year and all this backlash. So that's where I stand on the situation. And, I just want to hear your thoughts about that.
I get what you're saying. Optically, that would look better. But the guy, Saquon, came out and said he wanted to be a Giant for life. And for me, they weren't thinking about trading him during the season. It was after the season. He wanted this X amount of money. But honestly, I feel like he was such a team player that if you met him, like if you were like $1 million off or $2 million off, he probably would have taken your deal. But I think there's too much of a disparity there.
Yeah, there's too much.
It's like, dude, we're paying him what, 13, 14 million, I think. If you gave him over 10, if you gave him like 11 or 12, he would have stayed. He wouldn't have came here. He wanted to be a Giant. He wanted to be there. So it's like you could get him for cheaper. You could have still got Brian Burns. You just would be a more respectable, better, well-rounded team. And now you would have Brian Dable calling the plays. It will help Daniel Jones because, like, man, we got this talented rookie receiver on the outside, but we also got this top 5 running back we got to deal with too. So, yeah, if they stack the box, well, it means more. It means it's going to be easier for Jones to get the ball to Malik Neighbors and Wan'Dale Robinson and those guys. So it didn't make much sense when you're still trying to figure out. You keep bringing up the contract. You're out after this year. Don't you want to maximize this last year to see if he can pull you guys maybe to a wild card or something with Saquon and Malik versus just Malik? Like you had a talented running back, but now you lose that, and now you finally get your talented receiver. So it's like you can't have both when it was right there too. That's my problem with it. That's where it looks bad. Dating back to when they started to pay Jones over him. So
yeah, that's where it all started. That's where I have a disagreement as well. I would have paid Saquon over Daniel Jones.
Mm-hmm.
It was just much more of an impact to your team, more valuable. But you do make a good point.
Yeah, he was the guy that brought people when you guys were really bad. He was the reason why fans came too.
Oh, yeah.
So from the business side, if you still had him, jersey sales, ticket sales, people would still want to go and see him. So from a business standpoint, yeah, pay him. And wait, we don't have to pay him what Philly's offering or Houston's offering. We could get him for a couple million less. He's willing to do that. It just makes it seem like a no-brainer to do that too. Yeah. And then it'll be a couple of years. So let's say Daniel Jones didn't work out. You move on from him. You probably would get a rookie and then see if he can do it. Or maybe you're like, okay, let's go all in free agency. Let's bring in proven kind of like veteran guy. I don't know who that would be, but you have a number of ways you could pivot at the quarterback position. But you also have, like you said, secondary, you need some work on. You need safeties. You need another linebacker. Your corners are subpar. So, yeah, I get it. You're multiple pieces away from contending for a Super Bowl. I get that point. Yeah. But having Saquon there is one less piece you have to worry about. I get it. Tracy has potential. He did not play well Sunday as well as Devin Singletary. And, yeah, and Saquon is in a whole different league, and you could have still had him for less amount of money. It just makes it look really bad.
Yeah. It's just unfortunate with how everything's unfolded. But, yeah, the Giants have to find a way to, move on from here and try and win against the Steelers on Monday night.
If you thought our D-line was fantastic, you have to deal with Cam Hayward, TJ Watt. You have to deal with the best defensive player in football, Alex Heisman.
No, don't worry.
And
I'll give you
Cam Hayward.
Sneak peek of the picks.
Mike Tomlin.
They're not going to win. They're not going to win.
With Mike Tomlin calling that defense too.
Yeah, it's washed. But, yeah, I don't know where you go from here. It's just tough because 2 weeks ago, the Giants beat the Seahawks at Seattle, and everything was looking up. Daniel Jones had a good game, right? But that's the thing with Daniel Jones. It's a roller coaster. He has a good week. He's a piece of shit. He might have a good week. Piece of shit. So that's the thing. It's like it's the Daniel Jones experience. We know what he is. It's been 6 years. It's time to move on.
It's lasted like 3 years too long, in my opinion.
Yeah. Because look at his primetime record. And that's another thing. Every time we play a primetime game, it's like we're never favored because we play a team that's so much higher caliber than us. So that's why his record sucks. Well,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what we're gonna do. I would move off of Jones and just find a way
Yeah.
to get your own quarterback and draft. And
Yeah. It's
you
like
could sign a veteran
With Matt
this
Stafford in
offseason.
Detroit, with like Matt Stafford in Detroit. The thing is with him, the team wasn't bad, but that guy was a pretty good quarterback. It's just with him, he's a bad quarterback with a bad team.
Yeah.
So I'll
Mhm.
leave that there.
Yeah. So that took up big portion of the episode, but that's fine. That's okay. We're gonna speed through this stuff here in 10 minutes, and we can call it a day. So let's move on to the next topic. Let's talk about the other New York team, the Jets. So yeah, we saw Devontae Adams on Sunday night. Didn't look the greatest. The connection wasn't there. Wasn't the best. But it's his first game. Gotta go through the hiccups there. So now the Jets fall to 2-5. And you think the Jets season's over, Justin? Do you think it's over?
It's trending that way. I like the Devontae Adams move, but it doesn't address like cultural problems that they have. Like I was listening to like ESPN and stuff, and they make some good points like leadership. It doesn't seem like there's much there. I think Rodgers needs to step up and take more of a leadership role. Devontae Adams, I know it's tough. You don't want to step on anyone's toes. You just came over. So he needs to step into a leadership role. Like people are going to look up to those guys because of their success they had in Green Bay with all those playoff runs they had. So they need to step up and be leaders. Mathematically, they're not out of it. They need to win a lot of their games. But hey, there's hell of a teams, man. Chiefs are still undefeated. Right, there's the Ravens, there's the Steelers that can all make playoffs. Too, maybe the Bengals sneak in there. I don't know.
Yeah. I
You
just
got
don't
you
see
got the
them.
Bills too. It's rough. You're gonna have to win a significant amount of games to win. I heard 10 being floated out, like pretty much like losing only one more game, which they won't. They'll lose more games than that, but. Yeah, I know you gave me kudos for picking the Giants last place, but I was bullish on the Jets. I did have them first because I was a believer in Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson. I thought would go off, but it's just not looking like that. It's just a lot of cultural problems. I think Hassan Reddick agreed to a short-term deal. I did want to mention that. That'll help, but
Yeah, they did bring him back.
that will
Finally
help
found a
them.
way.
But yeah, it don't look good for them. They got the Patriots this week. That's a winnable game. That's a good game to get back on track. But I don't know. The offensive line it's bad, and like the Steelers' offense is not one to like
I've been
fear
saying
too.
that, man. I've been
The
saying
offensive
it. Like
line's bad.
they got all those old veterans. I'm like,
You were
that's
right
not gonna
about that.
help. I'm like, Tyron Smith is washed. Morgan Moses isn't the same.
Yeah,
So that's yeah. I just didn't believe in the hype. I know they got Aaron Rodgers, but he's come off a torn Achilles. He hasn't looked right. He's throwing all these picks. It's not good communication there with the receivers. So yeah, this team does not look like a playoff contender to me. It just
no,
doesn't. And now they got an interim head coach. Robert Sala's not even calling the defense anymore.
yeah. The
Defense doesn't look
defense,
right
it's not the
either.
same.
It's
Yeah,
not the same because you don't got Robert Saleh there. So yeah, this team, I don't see them making the playoffs. I think they're going to miss the playoffs. And yeah, now the
yeah,
Dolphins with Tua coming back, maybe they catch a stride here. Hopefully he can stay healthy. But yeah, this Jets team, I'm just not big believers in them. Been saying it all year. And yeah, I don't know if Rodgers retires soon. Do you give him one more year? Do you think he's going to hang up the cleats? That's a question to be determined. But yeah, I think this Jets season's over. They're 2-5. Unless they find a way to, get some wins here in the next couple of weeks, it's over. It's pretty hard to come back from a 2-5 start to the season.
yeah.
So
I feel that.
yeah,
What's our next topic, man?
let's talk about it.
Let's talk about our next topic. What we got? We got the
MVPs. Let's talk
MVPs.
your MVP so far through week 7.
Oh,
Who you got?
Lamar Jackson, dude, he's unbelievable. that game last night, Monday Night Football, Tampa. He rolled down there. He put on a show. Just get it done with his legs. He's really developed well as a passer too. Having Derrick Henry there's been a huge help too. He's such a phenomenal
Yeah,
running back. He's terrific. just a great team they got. But Lamar's the leader. He's doing all the right things. He's not really making any mistakes at all. Just a great offense that Todd Monken's run. Add him in, help Lamar Jackson too as a quarterback. The play calls are great too. But yeah, he's just a freak show, man. He's an anomaly, and honestly, he's the second best quarterback behind Mahomes, man. I would take him over Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, those guys. I think he's second best.
I think he's the best right now. Mahomes is looking like dog shit.
Yeah, I'm just going off
good.
of.
Oh yeah, I know.
Success. Yeah.
I just wanted to put it out there. Mahomes is not looking like Mahomes, and they're still undefeated.
Well, yeah, you could say Allen's playing better. You could say Lamar.
Yeah.
Hell, you could even say Jaden Daniels is playing better. My motherfucking guy.
Marcus Mariota's playing better. Marcus Mariota's playing better than Mahomes.
Yeah, he is having a turnover.
I think Jaden Daniels is a system quarterback after what I just saw this past Sunday. I think Jaden Daniels is a system quarterback. What do you think?
System quarterback. No, he is the system. I hate this whole system quarterback bullshit.
He is the system. Marcus Mariota. They only put up, 10 points with Jaden Daniels? And what did Marcus Mariota finish with, 30 plus?
He got hurt. He got hurt, man. He got hurt.
Dirty
ass play.
And then you saw the system, Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, it's good. It is a good offense, man.
It's a good offense. No, I'm just playing, but
it's a good offense there. Yeah, but I'm just saying, Jaden Daniels looks really good. You can make
he's in the conversation.
He's better than Mahomes, but the thing is with Mahomes, I'll pick on my guy, Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts can make a couple turnovers and you'll lose the game. Patrick Mahomes, man, he could throw 10 interceptions and he'll still figure out a way to win the game.
Yeah.
That's why he's still the best quarterback. He just finds a way to win.
The way he waddles around and scrambles, it's just so majestic.
The defense is Spags, and that defense is what's keeping them afloat.
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt. The offense is struggling. Again,
Kareem Hunt's been looking good. Should have started him in fantasy. Didn't do that. It is what it is. But my MVP favorite, who do I have? So I'll throw out Lamar. I think he's up there, but I want to be different. I want to give Jared Goff some love, man. I want to give some Jared Goff love. He's playing
phenomenal.
What he's been able to do with the Lions and win this past Sunday, beat the Vikings. It was a close game. They were down by a few scores there, and the way that they came back, that team is rallying right now behind Jared Goff, and now they're the best team in the division. They're Super Bowl favorites. They're my team to win the Super Bowl this year. I want to give Jared Goff some love. I want to give him some flowers there. I think he's been balling, and he's always been getting this hate that he couldn't get the job done with the Rams and Sean McVay. Look what Stafford did in his first year. But what he's been able to do, change that culture there in Detroit, I just wanted to give him some love and respect. So, all in all, I think, Jared Goff, he's my MVP favorite, along with Lamar Jackson there. I think, it's a two-way tie for first place right now.
There's a wild stat about Jared Goff that he has 18 touchdowns and 15 completions in the last 3 games, I think. 15 incompletions in the last 3 games or something, which is nuts. It's something that's hardly ever been done before. So it's good to give him a shout out. He's been playing excellent football. Man, gotta give him credit. That offense, best offensive football.
And we could brush on this topic for a few minutes here. So the NFL, I think they have a major injury problem. Let's just rattle off the names here. All right. So last night, unfortunate, Chris Godwin, ankle, out for the season.
Done for the year, yeah.
Dislocated the ankle. That sucks. Mike Evans, hamstring, re-aggravated it. They were looking like the best receiver duo right now in the league.
And he's going to be out a couple weeks.
He's going to be out for 4 weeks at least. Week 12, I heard he's coming back. Deshaun Watson, he didn't have a great start to the season, but you don't want to see this man go down. Tore his Achilles. You saw it snap there. It's brutal. Brandon Ayuk just got paid, and he tore his ACL and MCL. That can't happen. Micah Parsons, I believe it was a foot injury or an ankle there, high ankle sprain. All these star players. All these star players are going out. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, Tua, Andrew Thomas, my bodyguard for for Daniel Jones there. So
yeah,
there's a major problem with these injuries in the NFL. I don't know what the NFL could do to limit these injuries, but they have to figure it out. They have the technology. They have the science. If there's a way to prevent these injuries, figure it out. Invest more money in making sure these guys are there for Sunday. I don't know if it's the turf fields, the turf management. You go to grass. I don't
think
know
that's
what it
part
is.
of it.
You gotta make sure that they have the right playing surface. Like, I don't want to be seeing Super Bowls where people are slipping on the goddamn turf. I want to see good playing surfaces so I can watch these elite matchups and showdowns. Like, the Super Bowl should not have slippery turf. That Eagles-Chiefs Super Bowl we're talking about. That shouldn't have happened. That was ridiculous. But yeah, I don't know what the NFL has to do with all these injury concerns. It's devastating because these are guys you got on your fantasy team, guys you root for, guys you're fans of, and every week a star player's going down. So I don't know what the NFL has to do. It's unfortunate, but yeah, I want to turn the floor over to you, and so you could talk about this matter.
Yeah, you make all good points. I just wanted to think about like throwing it back in the heyday, back when our parents were like our age. Those guys weren't like, yeah, there was injuries, but I don't remember a time where it's just like, man, like, oh, all these star players are going out. Like maybe like even practicing more. You know, it might seem counterintuitive, like, oh, why would you practice more? You risk injury more. But maybe just like getting used again to like physicality, like tackling, conditioning. Like from like the Eagle standpoint, like, man, like when I look at the injury report, it's like, man, every guy's like going out with a hamstring problem, which to me seems like it's endurance. Means they're out of shape, not conditioned. Well, conditioned when you have a hamstring injury. That's like conditioning problems. So I think a lot of it is like the NFL saying, hey, you only can practice 2 hours during training camp, which I think they need to get rid of that, to be honest. I don't think they're practicing enough. Yeah, and especially with, like you're saying, invest more money into resources. There's all this technology and stuff and recovery methods and that they didn't have back then, but yet we're still more hurt now than you could point to like back in the day, back in like the 80s or the 90s. So I think it's just practicing. You just got to go through the war of attrition, go through it, grind, get endurance, get healthy, get in shape, and I think that helps a little bit more. And I feel like a lot of guys, yeah, they're athletic. Some may be in shape, but it's the difference between being like in shape and in game shape, just running routes, hitting other people, tackling the ground. They're not even tackling the ground anymore, which can contribute to injuries. If you're not used to like getting the bumps and bruises, I feel like, in my opinion, I don't know if the science backs it up, but if you're not taking it constantly, like you could when you go into a game and you're not used to it, it can aggravate something and something may arise from that. So yeah. It's just something they got to figure out, man.
It's just devastating, like seeing all these season-ending injuries, and people's fantasy teams rely on it. People's like hopes and dreams of going to Super Bowl, like the Bucks. Like that's a team that could easily make a run at the Super Bowl, and just seeing all those guys go down, it just sucks to see. But wishing all of them a speedy recovery. Want them back soon, because Chris Godwin was on pace to have a record year, and he was leading the league in receptions. So it sucks to see him go down. Penn State legend Chris Godwin,
yes, sir.
wishing him all the prayers there and hoping for a speedy recovery. But before we end off this podcast, the NBA is back, and we have to talk about it. We have to mention it. So as I'm looking right here, the game, Celtics are blowing out this Knicks right now. It's 99-76. I don't know what's happening. Dude, I thought the Knicks were the team. They just got Cat, Mikal Bridges, to reunite with the Villanova boys there. But Justin, who you got winning the Larry O'Brien Trophy?
Yeah, just on the Knicks real quick, losing Hartenstein is a big deal. Just they were getting killed on the rebounds when I was watching. Hartenstein was big in creating that. I know Josh Hart was too. So losing him was a big part of it. And I honestly, losing a shooter in DiVincenzo hurts too. Yeah, Julius Randle, I thought they played better without him, and Cat's going to help in some ways, but losing DiVincenzo, losing Hartenstein's going to hurt them. in those respects, like the shooting ability of DiVincenzo and the rebounding from Hartenstein. That's going to hurt them a bit. But I'm a little bit of a homer. I do like the Sixers off season, so I think they can win it all this year. I'm gonna say screw it.
You're crazy.
I'm picking the Sixers.
Did you see the injury report for week 1 already? We don't have Embiid. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
yeah.
there you go.
We're
starting
okay.
off the season great. And Paul George already hyperextended his knee in the preseason. That's not looking
good.
Get
it out of the way. Get the injury out of the way.
Get it. We'll be good to go. It's not about how you start. It's about how you finish. All right. I respect that there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Sixers over. I'll screw it. I just want to see it. I want to see Embiid versus Jokic. I'll go Sixers over Nuggets in 7.
So is this a realistic or a fun prediction here?
Oh, well, I was having fun, but I was also like, I could see it happening.
It could very well happen, you know. But if I'm being a realist, I think the Celtics running back. I think they got the best team right now in basketball, roster-wise. Tatum and the boys. I just feel like they're a scary team. Just watching them beating Knicks 105-76 right now. Like, come on. And Knicks are supposed to be a top team in the East here. So I have the Celtics running it back. I just think they're that good. But of course, I'm rooting for my Sixers. Of course, I'm rooting for them to get the job done and get over the injury hump. I'm trusting the process. So, Joel Embiid, come back.
One last time, man.
One last time. But I think we can end off the podcast there. If you guys want to see more content, drop a like on this video. Subscribe to the channel. We would really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed, all our Eagles-Giants recap and, recapping the rest of the week here. Any final words before we end off this episode, Justin?
No, beautiful people. Have a great evening. Have a great day, and I'll see you, man.
All right. We can end it off there. BenchWire.
Out.